of Philly, where the birds take flight. Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Flying guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
What up, good people? We back
Yes.
in the building for the midweek get together. What's going on, Tom?
Things are going good, man. Things are going very, very well. I can't complain, man. You know, of course, you want your week to start off with an Eagles victory, but it's okay.
Man.
It's okay, man. When you really think about it in the macro, it's been over 365 days since the Eagles experienced a loss with Jalen Hurts at the helm. So it's funny, in Jalen Hurts' press conference, they asked him, it's been over a year since you lost. How are you handling that? My man said, it wasn't a good day in my household. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, man.
and I'm paraphrasing. So
we don't always get the things that we want, but it is what it is, man. Getting ready today.
Yes.
Looks like we were supposed to have a long and positive conversation. And then bam, Joey Flacco gets traded.
Exactly, right?
And
Flacco.
then bam, CJ Gardner-Johnson goes to Baltimore. I was like, wait a minute.
But they needed it.
Yeah, they needed it, but lots of stuff to talk about, man, but nothing more important than our three offensive captains, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and, of course, QB1, Jalen Hurts, having long, positive conversations.
Yeah.
It's always funny to me.
It's always even funnier to me when things like this come out, because I always ask myself, especially with the way it's framed, right? In this case, a long positive conversation. I always ask myself, what does that mean? What does that mean in the context of everything that's going on, right? Is that something that we're imparting on that conversation, or that rumored conversation that was had, like long and positive? Is that something that was explicitly said from one of those guys in the room? Is it someone who's adjacent to those guys? Can the team or the people around them feeling that sense of positivity from said conversation? I'm always curious what that means and what does it ultimately amount to. I'm curious from you, actually.
It sounds to me like whoever the source is, they heard somebody say Jalen, Saquon, and AJ had a long meeting.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that very few hints, very few. It was very short, very vague, but somebody got the sense that there was a meeting between those three. Probably Sirianni was there too. Or it could have been what could be the equivalent of a players only meeting. Or it could have just been as simple as, I don't know, they were sitting together at the lunch table. And like, yo, let's work some things out, man. Like let's just talk and like get on the same page. Because if it was that important, how come Smitty wasn't there? You know what I'm saying? So you can take it any way you want to take it. I don't put much stock in it, other than, maybe AJ and Saquon and Jalen was trying to, when they say get on the same page, kind of like, well, what was you thinking? Well, what was I thinking? And, let me tell you why I did this. Let me tell you why I slowed up on the route when I looked. Because in practice, you never threw me the ball, or it could have been anything like that. And it doesn't have to always have a negative connotation. that's the way things like that happen. It could have been those three guys, and only those three guys decided to stay after practice and watch film.
Yeah, and by the way, this story came by way of Jimmy Kempski of the Philly Voice. You know, it's interesting that this didn't come from a national guy. We know the national people always tend to get the stories before us.
Yeah.
But this came from Jimmy Kempski, which makes it that much more interesting.
Yeah. So if it's a national voice, then it was leaked. It was told. I don't necessarily want to use the word leaked because that would indicate that they was trying to hide information. But it could have been just as simple as like, oh yeah, they got together and they was, talks about some things, and they talked for about an hour or so. It was a good long meeting. They could take that and make it sound like anything. So I understand what they mean when they constantly say trying to get on the same page. Been there, done that. It's not as complicated as people want to make it out to be. But it's something that needs to be done, because that's a little thing. To me, that's as an easy example, that's when you pitch and catch with a quarterback and a wide receiver, and the quarterback's expecting, you to go outside and you curl it up on the inside. Well, why did you do that? Well, you told me when the DB is on my inside, this is what you need me to do. So they work stuff out like that. So I don't put too much stock into it. I simply like the fact that you got the three offensive captains together working it out.
Right. And I think that's why Smitty wasn't involved. Not saying that his voice doesn't matter, because I believe it does. But I think when we think about the crux of the Eagles' offensive issues outside of the offensive line, we go to those three gentlemen. Saquon's not running the ball well. AJ Brown isn't being used to affect the offense the way we're used to seeing. Jalen Hurts, he's the maestro of the offense, right? So
what is Smitty gonna say? He just had a 100-yard game.
Exactly. Right. Right. So I think when you think about the dichotomy, or in this case, the trichotomy, if that's a word, or the trifecta of the offense, the triangle offense for the Eagles, it's Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley. I think that's the nucleus of their offensive identity. So it makes sense for those three gentlemen to be in the meeting. And sometimes the more voices you have in the meeting, the less productive it can be. Not
Correct.
saying
you don't want a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Absolutely.
Exactly. Not saying Smitty isn't a voice that matters, because Smitty's voice matters just as much as AJ Brown's. Smitty's voice matters just as much as Saquon Barkley's. Smitty was here
first.
At first.
Yeah.
Smitty was the first one in the mud with Jalen. Let's call that what it is. Smitty was the first one in the mud with Jalen Hurts, grinding to that 9-8 record, grinding to that first playoff berth, right? Smitty was here in the mud. So I don't want anybody to assume that I'm discounting Smitty's voice, his influence in his locker room. Smitty's voice, his presence, everything he means to the Eagles is extremely influential. Some people gravitate more towards Smitty than AJ as far as fans go, because of just how Smitty carries himself, right? And also he was drafted here, so there's a different affinity for that guy, right?
Right. Or I just thought of this. Or what if it's the three offensive captains and they are trying to figure out, listen, man, we know KP is calling some bull jive, but we got to figure out a way to make it work for us. Because didn't that happen last year with Kellen Moore?
Yeah.
Didn't, as much as everybody lost Kellen Moore, he was the architect of that offense that took us to the Super Bowl. But there was a point where Jordan Mailata and the offensive line went to Kellen Moore and said, "Hey,
you overcooking it." Yes, and because Kellen won that Super Bowl with us, there is a remix of hindsight.
Yes. Now, who's
and I understand it. I get it.
Yeah,
because ultimately
they didn't get together to try to come up with the same message to Kevin. Like, hey, I know what you're trying to do, but let's find some middle ground, because we know how it worked. I like watching that game in the first half and seeing Jalen make adjustments at the line of scrimmage. That's when things were working. The only other thing I think that they need to force the issue is running the ball.
Yes, and being more creative as they do it.
Yes,
and I'll even admit, right? We saw in that Broncos game they tried to get it to the outside. When they did, they were pretty successful. I think Saquon's longest run of the season came on a pitch, right? Or was it outside zone,
yep.
something like that?
Yep.
And they just didn't lean on it more. You know what I mean? They didn't really. As a matter of fact, even the commentators were indicating that, okay, this Eagles team is running the ball on this Broncos team. That's a situation the Broncos haven't been in before. They need to lean on this, and they did the opposite.
They did the opposite, but even they did the opposite, it was working. It was working because everybody's jumping on Kevin Patullo. He's too predictable. We call him the same plays, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's forgetting the fact that Jalen Hurts had his best passing game of the year. And
also they missed on a handful of things. And
yes,
on top of that,
Jalen should have thrown for 350.
Easily. Especially when you factor in Jihaad Dotson's catch. Do you think Jihaad Dotson's was a catch? That was very close.
No.
I don't think it was a catch either.
I do not.
Because
he did not. If he would have clutched it from the rip, yes.
And that's the people are forgetting. You can't just start when the ball touches his hands. It has to go for when he clutches it because the ball.
If you watch it, his hands were apart, and the ball rattles around as he secures it.
Right, and once he secures it, the left foot is in, but that right foot is not. Right. So I don't think it was a catch. Even in in my fandom, as much as I wanted to be a catch, it wasn't a catch.
2 inches too far to the left.
Exactly. And the game is a game of inches, right? Missing AJ Brown deep, the infamous play of AJ slowing down. And listen, man. Here, I want to really try to recalibrate or recenter Eagles fans today. I think this conversation we're having here and why this platform that we're building here is so important and so necessary is because, my passion coupled with your experience and rationale is how we're able to meet the Eagles fans where they are and kind of find that middle ground and just recalibrate us. So we're walking in the right direction, so to speak, right? There's a lot of platforms out there that want you to spiral, right? There's a lot of platforms out there that want you Eagles fans to strictly live in your emotions and strictly be reactive.
They want you to choose violence.
Yes. And although I am one of those people who likes to choose violence sometimes, I like to reserve that for game day for the opponent. I don't want that to be against each other. I don't want that to be against the team because ultimately the team wants to win.
Right.
Let's make that clear. KP wants to win. Sirianni wants to win. Vic Fangio, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae, Saquon. That team wants to win. Let's just start there. They want to win. No one's doing anything to sabotage anybody intentionally.
Right.
Now, to take it a step further, not only do they want to win, but the object of the sport is to win. And again, I'm about to go on a little bit of a soliloquy here. So, Marcus, give me a little bit of brevity to get this out real quick. Because I want to recalibrate this.
Okay.
The fan base, that is. The main object of the sport is to win. And please jump in whenever you see fit. I want to make that very clear too. Point blank period. The main object is to win. And the reality is how the road is traveled, how you get to the win will always be a topic of conversation in this sport. It's the nature of it. How the road is traveled will always be a topic of discussion because it's a way to determine the pedigree and dominance of a team, that team being the Eagles.
Right.
You know how we always say all records ain't created equal, right? We ask ourselves, who did you play? You know what I mean? Okay. How did you win? Did you win on the block kick, so to speak? Did you win because your defense didn't do their job, but your offense did their job, right? Sometimes a quarterback gets the blame for a loss, but hey, he got the lead. Defense gave it up. So how the road is traveled will always be an important object of the discussion because it determines pedigree and it determines dominance, right? And when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, it's reasonable. Yeah. Not only us, But it's also reasonable for other people outside of this fan base, outside of this Eagles culture that we exist in. It's reasonable for people to question that the Eagles, or any team for that matter, are as good or as bad as their record indicates.
Fair enough.
And as long as it's within reason and fairness, right? As long as we're assessing the full landscape of their circumstance. So when you look at the Eagles, in spite of their 4-1 record, so far the Eagles have displayed that they have real issues, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. We look at the defense and we say primarily they played well. I think the Eagles defense played their worst quarter of football against the Broncos in the fourth quarter. Other than that, I think Eagles defense has played well enough to win most games.
Agreed. And some would even argue that if the offense could have played better in the second half, they would have kept the defense off the field a little bit better. It wouldn't have been as gassed.
Exactly. Because what people got to understand is your defense can only play well, but for so long.
For so long.
That's the part of the game I think that always gets misconstrued. It's not like offense where, we're not in a vacuum.
Yeah,
offense usually doesn't get worn down. Defense is something that gets worn down over time.
Correct.
Right? So when you're the offense, you're not sustaining drives and you're not taking time off the clock and you're forcing your defense to go back on the field in a quick 3 and out. That's not good for them. It's not good for you. It's not good for your pass rush. It's not good for your deep. It's just not good for the defense overall because they don't have time to necessarily assess where they went wrong or where they went right on a particular drive. So again, defense has been very good and even clutch for the most part. And on top of that, special teams has made big plays and big moments to give both the offense and defense an advantage. Fair to say. Still, offense has not been able to live up to their end of the bargain. In spite of everything I mentioned, offense has still not been able to live up to the end of the bargain. They've had strong quarters. They've had strong halves.
They haven't had a strong game.
They haven't had a strong game. On more than one occasion, offense has not been able to take the pressure off of the defense. We've talked about that ad nauseum, right? I just mentioned it. You got to sustain some drives, even if you're not scoring touchdowns.
Right.
Sustain a drive, kick a field goal, take some pressure off of your defense. Because we all know defenses play a lot different with the lead versus not having a lead.
Correct.
Your entire play calling can be shifted based off of being up by 3 points or down by 3 points. We talk about it and we see it all the time. So the Eagles offense has failed to put teams away when they actually provide an advantage, right? Eagles were up 17-3. Had a chance to put them away. They secured an advantage and couldn't put the team away.
Couldn't take advantage of it.
Right. I say all that to say, nonetheless, with all the deficiencies that I've mentioned, with all the concerns I've mentioned that we've talked about for the past 4 or 5 weeks, this Eagles team has managed to secure a 4-1 record to start the season. They should be 5-0. Even with the deficiencies, they should be 5-0.
Agreed.
But they're 4-1. But they're 4-1.
Right?
They're 4-1. And
we still want one of the better teams because there ain't no undefeated teams left.
Yes. It's funny. The Bills lost. Right. The Chargers lost. Like
Chargers got.
There's and I'm going to get to that too. But again, that brings us back to the Eagles' deficiencies on offense. To bring it full circle, the goal is to win the game. And despite the flaws of the offense, the Eagles have managed to secure 4 wins out of 5. If you ask me, through all the deficiencies, through all the concerns, that's a remarkable place to be, Marcus.
Yeah.
Remarkable place to be with everything we've seen, everything we've experienced, especially when you assess the landscape of the league. And that brings me to your point, talking about the Bills. So let's really, real quick, let's really just think about the landscape. Let's assess the land real quick, briefly, but succinctly, right? The Colts, 4-1.
Yep.
Buffalo Bills, 4-1. Just lost to an inferior Patriots team.
Absolutely. And I watched that game.
The Steelers, 3-1. They had a bye week, but they're 3-1. And the Steelers are not without their deficiencies. The Chargers, 3-2. they've lost, if I got this right here, they've lost back-to-back weeks to inferior NFC East teams.
Everybody
They
got
lost
worse.
they lost to the Giants and they lost to the Commanders without their starting quarterback. Am I tripping? Did Daniels play in that game? No, he did play. I'm sorry. Jay Daniels did play his first game back. I apologize. So they lost to the Giants with Jackson Dart as the quarterback, and they lost to the Commanders, right? And both games, if you ask me, their so-called high-powered offense has failed to live up to the hype in those particular games. Defense held the Giants to 21 points. Their defense held the Commanders to 27. Now, granted, 27 is a good place to be if you're putting up points, but with Justin Herbert and the way that offense has been playing, you expect them to be able to handle the Commanders, especially at home.
They were so ready. They were so ready to just put Justin Herbert up there. Like, finally, he's arrived.
And they had a 10-point lead.
We've been waiting to see. And then as soon as you get there, they knock you back down.
And they had a 10-0 lead going into the second quarter. And then from that point on, they didn't score another point. That offense became anemic. So, and then you get to the NFC side of things, right? The NFC side of things, San Francisco, 4-1.
With a quarterback controversy.
And massive injuries. Tampa Bay 4-1. Sure, they're 4-1, but it always seems like it requires a last-second drive. Can they put a team away? Can they be dominant? I don't think the Buccaneers have been dominant a single time this year, but they've won the games. The Detroit Lions, new coordinators, they've been winning their games, but you look at Detroit and you say, okay, you beat the Bears, you beat the Ravens, you beat the Browns, you beat the Bengals. 4 teams who are either figuring it out or who are just terrible. So then the Packers. Packers are, 2-1-1. Went blow to blow with the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
And the game got tied 40-40. And then they lost the previous week. They lost to the Browns. Seahawks just lost to the Buccaneers. Seahawks were a team that was flying high. Minnesota dealing with injuries. So all I'm trying to say is, right, we're at the point in the season, if you ask me, even through your deficiencies as the Philadelphia Eagles team, even through your deficiencies as any team in the NFL, the goal at this part of the season is to bank wins when you can.
It's the bank wins.
Bank wins when you can.
The injuries are coming. The everybody's got warts. There is no, in my opinion, there's no dominant teams right now. You just saw what happened to Kansas City in Duval last night.
Kansas City lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence led a game-winning drive that was remarkable. That final touchdown was crazy. That's something out of a movie.
And Chris Jones is getting rightfully ripped.
He looked insane on that play, Chris Jones. There's no way.
People don't understand how difficult it is to fall down in that situation and be able to get back up.
It looked like he fell twice.
He did. He slipped trying to get up. Here's what happens when you are in that situation. It happens to guys that catch a ball, receiver, running back. They catch a ball. They think they're about to get tackled, but nobody touches them. Your brain thinks faster than your legs can move. That's what happened to him. He realized he fell. Nobody had touched him. So he's trying to get up, and his brain was moving too fast, and his legs was trying to keep up. So I give major props to him to be able to get up off the ground and have enough wherewithal to move the ball forward and get in the end zone. That was incredible.
And I think it speaks to the maturity that he's grown, that his growth and maturity over his career. I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence truly has taken a step forward. I mean, the Jaguars are 4-1, and the Jaguars have you got to give credit where credit is due. You got to give credit where credit. They beat. It's funny. The Jaguars had a defining win against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Broncos had a defining win against the Eagles. And
Travis Hunter made plays.
Yes.
Travis Hunter made some hellacious plays last night.
The Jaguars defense had a pick.
Defense.
The Jaguars defense had a 99-yard pick six. And it's
so
funny.
I was watching that play. It was incredible.
When we picked the teams to win that game, I said out loud, that Jaguars defense is playing well. They're forcing turnovers, but I'm gonna still pick the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I still went against what the better team was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so everything that we talked about, right? Other teams' deficiencies, teams that are creating upsets, teams that are playing better than maybe we expected, and teams that we thought that would be better off, they're having their fair share of struggles. The Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-3 on the NFL season through 5 weeks. We've never seen them in that position before.
Never seen that before, man. Never seen that. And
a team that was just in the Super Bowl.
It just goes to show everybody gets a turn.
Yes. And on top
of that, pump the brakes.
Yes.
Pump the brakes.
Yes.
We gonna get there. We did the same thing with Kellen Moore, and we end up winning the chip. Wasn't nobody happy with him. Everybody had that attitude, like, well, we made a mistake. We should have hired Kingsbury. We should have did this. We should have did that. Sometimes the cake just ain't ready yet. You got to let it cook. What did your grandmama do when she baked the cake? You sitting there watching. You got to poke it with the toothpick first. You got to make sure it's done in the middle. And it looks like it's done, but grandmama knew what's best. Leave it in the oven for another 20 minutes. It's not done yet. It's still cooking. It still got some things. It still got some things that's raw on the inside. You know what I mean? Now, I will say this, because two things can be true. And I'm looking at Alex. Eagles offense can't beat zone. Any team will play man versus us. That's what Denver did in the second half. Absolutely. And that is a valid criticism. And that's on Kevin Patullo to get better. The other part of that is
Jalen Hurts as well.
Yeah. The other part of that is, in spite of that truth, we still had opportunities to win the way we were playing. And we should have won that game. So you're not wrong. But in my opinion, Kevin Patullo was not the reason we lost that game. And then my man, and by the way, thank y'all for the super chats. $4.99 and $5.
We appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Student Dr. Shaq. Offense not maximizing opportunities.
Correct.
That is the key. Everybody's going to get the opportunities. What do you do with it? And we are not making the most of those opportunities. We go by two guys. We overthrow the ball. We quit on the routes. Jahan Dotson, his foot is 2 inches too far to the left, out of bounds, and that's 9 points off the board at minimum. At maximum, we got 21. But we don't score. We got nothing. We didn't get nothing from that. So everybody is right. Kevin Patullo needs to call better plays. We need to run the ball. Yes, yes, and yes. However, we still should have won that game. And what that tells me is we are not even close to reaching our potential, and we still balling out.
And they're still 4-1.
We still 4-1.
That brings it all full circle to the point that at this point in the season, while you're figuring out, which is what most teams are doing, whether we want to accept it or not, I know we're in our Eagles bubble, and most people like to say, well, I don't get paid to talk about the other team. I'm supposed to talk about the Eagles, or like I'm not here to worry about other teams. I'm here to worry about the Philadelphia Eagles. That is talking about the other team's deficiencies or what they're working through doesn't do anything for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles got to figure out their issues, and you are right. But the Eagles are a part of the National Football League, and teams are constantly being compared, and you're going to have to face certain teams at particular points in the season and so on and so forth. So it is important to, while assess the Eagles, it's important to also assess the landscape and just figure out, okay, who's really dominating right now? And there's no particular team, in my humble opinion, who's truly been able to say they're the most dominant team in football, because at this point in the season, we can pick apart all these teams. So now we start, or we get to the point where we're comparing struggles.
Right.
And when you think about the Eagles' struggles right now, it's not defense. In my humble opinion, it's not defense.
Right.
I think the defense has earned enough equity despite that fourth quarter.
Defense has played well enough to win every game.
Absolutely. Right.
The last game, Denver had some stuff for them. We struggled a little bit in run defense. But again, in my opinion, the defense played well enough to win.
I agree.
We couldn't give them a rest in the second half.
Your
Offense
defense
just
still
couldn't get it going.
Your defense still only allowed 21 points.
Only 21 points.
Let's call it what it is. This offense is good enough to generate 21 points in their sleep.
Correct.
But they only generated 17. Nonetheless, they're 4-1. So my final point is if you can win while at the same time repairing, then you're in a better position than most of the field. Because there's some teams who can't win while they're fixing issues. They can't do both.
What happens if our offense just gets good? I'm not even talking about great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even talking about Saquon looking like Saquon from last year. What happens when our offense looks just good? That's a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So when the offense comes together and finally gets even with the defense, we're not going to even remember having these conversations.
And to your point about that, what happens if they just get good? The talent alone will push that good to great.
Exactly. That's precisely my point. That's precisely my point. Because even if they are good, they still not playing up to our expectations or their potential.
Mm-hmm.
And they still better than most everybody out there. But right now, they're playing like paper tigers. They look good on paper. Saquon looks good on paper. AJ looks good on paper, but it's not manifesting on the field. At least it hasn't for 4 quarters.
Can you pull up Afrato's comment here? He says, what if it never looks good under KP calling plays? With all due respect, brother, that's a fear mindset. That's a fear mindset. And with all due respect, again, you're putting the cart before the horse. We are in week 5 of the NFL season. Week 5. And I know we are conditioned as Eagles fans to react as if the sky is falling. And maybe it is in your household. Maybe you are so uncomfortable with what you're seeing that it forces you to feel the way you're feeling. And I don't necessarily blame you for that, because I've had moments where I've said to myself, yo, is KP even capable of fixing these issues? Is he capable? Which is a very poignant question. Not can the Eagles fix their issues, right? Because they're so talented, you would think that anything's possible, but is he even capable? And I do think that is a fair question that Afrado was asking, although it is a fear-based mindset. And the reason the reason I believe he's capable, or the offense overall is capable, is because we've seen fragments of how this diamond can shine. We've seen fragments of this offense being very effective. So clearly there is something there that they can capitalize on. Clearly there is something that they can maximize. The problem is being able to sustain that over the course of 4 quarters, and being able to adjust when the defense hits you with a counterpunch.
Being consistent with it.
Yes.
Being consistent with it. And that's the one thing, in my opinion, Kevin Patullo is not comfortable with calling the play and then letting Jalen Hurts take it.
He's also not comfortable with receiving a counterpunch yet. Well, give me your thoughts on that, because I feel like every time the defense is countered, for the most part, he hasn't been able to hit them with the counter of his own.
He hasn't found his footing with his adjustments yet. So okay. I agree with that.
Because that's where that's what I'm talking about.
But that process is the same for everybody.
Okay.
You can only do with what you see. Then you get half your brain telling you, like, listen, we worked on this. Trust the work that you did during the week.
Right.
And it is very difficult to go away from that. But that comes with experience, learning when to go away from your game plan and learning when to stick with it. Correct. Now, I think in my opinion, what he needs to do a little bit more, and Jalen showed this in the first half, You call a play, let Jalen work with it.
Yes.
It's like being in a restaurant. If I order a number 10, make the number 10, but when you give it to me out the window, I'm gonna eat it how I want to eat it.
Yes.
When
It's
Jalen
like,
gets to the line of scrimmage and he's pointing stuff out and he's looking at the receivers and he's giving hand signals and they doing all it. Whenever you see the receivers do like this, that means they talking to each other. That's what we need to see because yes, you researched a play. You researched the analytics, down distance. They run this defense 38.7% of the time when it's 3rd and 5 or more. They run man coverage 45.2% of the time when it's 3rd and 8 or more, or whatever the situation is. And you trust that data until you get in the game and then you see something you ain't see on tape.
mm-hmm.
That's when you say, Jalen, I trust you. Go to work.
I think they also have a tendency problem as well. You know, too often the tendencies are showing, and Dan Orlovsky pointed this out too. Their tendencies are when they're under center, 85% of the time it's going to be a run.
Yep.
And when they're in shotgun, 85% of the time it's going to be a pass. They haven't created any tendency busters or trend
Correct.
busters yet. Like they're right now they're too married to their tendencies. And you said something really interesting about giving Jalen calling the play and allowing Jalen Hurts to do his thing after that, right? You ever been to a restaurant where they have a plethora of things on the menu, but in the fine print with the asterisk next to it, it says no modifications allowed.
Yeah.
You ever been to one of those places?
Yeah.
And that's annoying, right? Some people they're fine with things as is. They don't need to modify things because they're maybe that's not how their brain works.
Right.
But sometimes when I go to a restaurant and the menu says a steak and it comes with green beans and mashed potatoes, okay, you got to order a sides here. Can I sub out my mashed potatoes for French fries?
Right.
Can I sub out my green beans for spinach? So when we talk about KP and Jalen Hurts, what KP needs to do, and when they've been at their best, is when he provides Jalen Hurts with a menu that allows for modifications. That's what needs to be talked about and needs to be addressed. Provide Jalen Hurts in this offense with an item off the menu that allows for modifications. Maybe I don't want American cheese. Maybe I want Swiss. Maybe I don't want my burger medium rare. I want it medium well. Allow for options and variation to be deployed in this offense. Let your Super Bowl MVP quarterback, let your franchise quarterback cook and stop running plays that have predetermined outcomes.
Right.
Because the Eagles' offense is the most predictable offense in football.
We have to. I think they're getting into that a little bit more, trusting Jalen at the line of scrimmage, because that puts the defense on their heels. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but we got to get into a situation where we're winning most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a better situation for us to be in because you can't really prepare for that because you can always change it on the fly. And if you want to look at some of the default plays that we're running, what we do, I'm always going to scream, get a ball to the running back. I'm always going to scream, put him in ace or put him in pistol or get under center because we run the ball better from that situation. And let's not forget, football 101, when you're under center, play action just works better. It just works better. So there's some things that we got to try. We got to get better at. Teams you saw the other day, we tried to throw that screen pass and the running back is right in the line of sight with the defensive end. He jumps up, he blocks the ball down. So line of sight, where you trying to run the plays. I always look back at the last couple of years with Andy Reid, and Andy Reid had a knack for having a screen game that was unequaled.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't stop it. And we got that same type of talent available. You know what? I don't always need for Jalen to throw the ball. Why can't he take a step to the left and underhand it like everybody else do? Find different ways to wrinkle the same old.
Like we saw in the Buccaneers game with the shovel passes.
Exactly. You know, I don't know if that's in Kevin Patullo's purview. You know, I don't know what they make up. I don't know what their initial game plan looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some games, look at some other games, and when the coaches come out there, look at how large or small their play sheet is. And you will see the difference. Some people come out and it'll look like they got two 11x17 sheets laminated together. And some people might have one 8.5x11 on both sides with everything they need on there.
I've seen some coaches with the index card.
Yeah. They don't need all of that. Some people can go off of that. Some people want to have everything in detail to the nth degree. Some people, different strokes for different folks. Mm-hmm. It's just like if I give a speech on stage, I don't need to read the whole speech. I work in bullet points. Mm-hmm. Give me a topic. I can riff off that topic for 2 minutes, then go to the next one. Some people need it verbatim. They need index cards to go from point to point to point to point to point. So it's different strokes for different folks. I think Kevin Patullo was still learning his way. But every game, I've noticed Jalen gets a little bit more autonomy on the line of scrimmage, and I think that's what we need. I do think I wish we could go back to the RPO. We can't really do that no more because the NFL basically outlawed it by not letting the offensive linemen go downfield.
They've made it way more difficult.
They did that because of us.
Yeah. They've made it way more difficult. It's funny. It's so far we've seen 2 rule changes, or one pending and one already confirmed, to respond to what the Eagles are doing. The first was the RPO. At first, I think linemen were afforded 4 yards or 5 yards. Now it's only 1 yard, right?
Yeah.
And the brotherly shove, the Eagles quarterback sneak, that's going to be banned next year.
We've had we've had 2 weeks we didn't run it. 2 weeks in a row.
That's a good point.
And if you remember, I thought it was funny. The Rams game, they had Dean Blandino in the booth, and they talked about that for about 5 minutes straight on the air, and we never ran the play. Never ran it, but they always had something to say. And guess what? Didn't you see? Was it the Jaguars that did it last night and failed at it?
I think, and we saw San Fran do it against the Rams, a team that voted against it.
But the Jaguars did it, and Trevor Lawrence fumbled. Fumbled the ball on the goal line. So, I think going back to the original topic of those 3 having that conversation.
Yes.
Maybe it was to figure out, all right, we got to figure out what we're going to tell Patullo so we can make it work for us. And that's fair. That's just as fair as the offensive line going to Kellen Moore saying we got to run the ball. And our offensive line is hurt. We have to come to the reality. We got to wake up in the matrix. Y'all got to take the blue pill or whatever you got to do. But Eagles fans must come to grips with the situation that our offensive line is not as good as it used to be, period.
Yeah.
Maybe we could be if everybody was healthy. Right now, the right side of our offensive line is still getting it done. From center to the left, we got problems. Mailata's been suspect. Landon Dickerson has been hurt. Cam Jurgens is hurt.
I can make an argument Lane Johnson hasn't been the player we're used to him being as well. You know,
I agree, but
him being in and out of the lineup.
I don't see him as a problem, though.
Okay.
I don't see him as a problem. And if he is out of the lineup, Fred Johnson has shown that he can come in and you won't miss a beat. We can't say that on the left side of the line because whenever Brett Toth is in the game, I'm sweating. Or
whenever Matt Pryor's in the game at guard, we're sweating. I don't think Tyler Steen has played awful at all.
Tyler Steen has been legit on that right side is solidified.
And Cam Jurgens,
he's hurt.
I think Cam Jurgens is still dealing with that back. And Landon Dickerson, Dickerson
better not play this week.
He better not. Honestly, sometimes your best player can be a liability. Can be a liability if they're hurt.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's better to have the healthy guy out there and just prepare and get him ready for the week.
We might have to take another L. Because to me, I look at we are in the same situation that Kansas City was last year going into the Super Bowl. Everybody named Mama knew that Caliendo wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever we got that's covering for Landon Dickerson, anybody worth their salt is going to attack that gap.
And this week,
make him prove that he belongs.
And this week, although they are the Giants, this week you're going up against a very talented, very athletic, very powerful defensive front that includes Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence.
We have no gimmies. We have no gimmies.
They haven't earned that right.
At the beginning of
the
year. Washington, Dallas, New York. We thought we were just going to roll over the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
I still think we're going to win the NFC East, but we ain't rolling over shit.
They haven't afforded that right. They haven't earned that right. They don't have that equity so far this year, despite having a 4-1 record. They don't have the equity as of right now to say they're going to roll over anybody.
Nope.
And and again, although I'm in agreement with that, I believe these next 3 weeks can really provide this offense, this team, a chance to really establish or reestablish a sense of dominance, a sense of confidence in what they're doing. Despite us agreeing that these aren't gimmies, the Giants aren't the Rams or the Broncos, right? The Vikings, although they've been getting by the skin of their teeth, they're not any of the teams we faced in the first 4 weeks, if you ask me. But like you said, none of these games are gimmies because of the simple fact of not even really being the opponent, because of the Eagles.
Yeah, because
we've said on multiple occasions. We said before the season started, the only team that can beat the Eagles is the Eagles.
Correct. And I'm looking at the schedule. And just to be honest, I only see 2 games where there should be no reason why we should lose these 3 games. I see the Vikings, I see the Bears, and I see Las Vegas Raiders. Mm-hmm. There's no reason we should lose those games.
After that bye week, it heats up.
Yep.
It heats up.
But we got the Giants twice, and the way we're playing, that's not a guarantee. We got Green Bay, and the way we're playing, that's not a guarantee. The Lions are always tough. We got Dallas again at Dallas. That's always tough. And Dak Prescott looked like he's finally waking up. The Chargers is going to be tough. Washington, both games at Washington is going to be tough. Buffalo's going to be tough. So our schedule is lit. And we have got to start showing a little bit more consistency in our production on offense. If we don't do that, it is going to be a tough go at it all the way to the end of the season. We have no layups. We should have them because on paper, we are the better team in most of these situations, but we have not been playing like it at all.
Well, the Bills
are what you put on the field.
Well, the Bills the other night, Sunday night, as well as they've been playing, they proved that there's no layups.
Yeah, but in this situation, we don't play Buffalo until December 28th.
Well, what I'm saying is the Bills lost to a team that they've been beating up on for years.
They shouldn't have lost that game.
And they shouldn't have lost that game. Nonetheless, they did.
They did. Everybody get a turn.
So my point is, no matter how well you're playing, because the Bills have been playing very well, and the Patriots have kind of been up and down. To your point, there's no layups.
Right.
There's no layups. Any team can get got. But the goal is to put yourself in a position where the likelihood of getting got is slim. And right now, the Eagles don't have too much margin for error because they haven't earned and built up that equity, not just with themselves, but also with the fan base.
Right.
And, overall, I just think, and bringing it full circle again, this part of the season where most teams are still figuring out how they want to do things in the long term, to be 4-1 and you're figuring it out. And I know some people are getting tired of that statement.
I'm one of them.
But yeah. And there's going to become a point in time where that statement no longer is valid.
Yeah, but it's a reality.
You lose 2 games in a row, then we're in a pressure cooker.
Right.
But 4-1, you beat some real opponents those first 4 weeks. You know, you lost to a team that you should have beat in the Broncos. Okay. You know, although sometimes I hate the statement as well, right? The reality is they're 4-1. And defense has been playing well for the most part. Special teams have been playing well for the most part. Offense has been inconsistent, but it's had strong halves, strong quarters, whatever it may be. They have to bank in the wins while they're figuring it out. So you can buy yourself some leash in the event you do lose to a team in week 9, week 10, week 11, whatever it may be. Bank the wins early, and you can have a chance to adjust going forward.
Right. Alex, I hate that KP doesn't answer a question. He's always dancing around the question. You're not wrong. I could care less about the questions that he answers. The only thing I can't care about with Kevin Patullo is that he calls a good game. That's it. All the other stuff doesn't matter. That's fan service. And, you know, it does us no good. So we've got to get better, because I still think we have one of the better teams. I still think we got enough guns in the chamber, enough bullets in the chamber to be able to just take some folks out. And for whatever reason, man, it's just we ain't pulling the trigger on it.
The Arsenal, we know the Arsenal ain't the problem. We know you know how they always say, it's not the what is it? What do they say? It's not the gun, it's the shooter. You know, some people like to say, yeah, this thing's a little off. You know what I mean? I've seen movies where this thing's a little off. You seen somebody grab that gun, bah, 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 they don't miss. No, the gun ain't off, brother. You off. So when it comes to the Eagles, it ain't the Arsenal. It ain't the sights on the pistol or on the rifle. It ain't the sights. Nothing's weighted off. The Arsenal was fully in balance. The shooter, though, isn't in balance. The shooter isn't at peace with himself. Something is distracting the shooter. The shooter isn't able to be at one with his weapon. And that's the problem with the Eagles right now. There's a disconnect when it comes to play calling, play design, and personnel. And now, and bring the full circle to that meeting with the trifecta on the offense: Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley. You know, they got some of the quotes here. Jalen Hurts says, yeah, that's just us talking about the collective, talking about taking ownership for what we can, talking about how we move forward as a team so we can continue to find ways to win games. Hurts is always going to give you the cookie cutter answer, right? Saquon, let me see if this is Saquon here. It says here, yeah, we had a conversation, but I'm not going to speak too much on it. I feel like that conversation is meant to stay between us. The focus was all about the team, which I think is a good thing. So there's a narrative that AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts don't talk. There's a narrative. And I think where I get most annoyed with as a spectator, as a fan of the game, as a fan of the sports, is how sometimes people superimpose their belief systems, their feelings, their thoughts on these players. And regardless, and look, we can all make predictions, and a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Maybe you are right in whatever prediction you make, but the reality is we're not in the rooms with these guys. We're not in the rooms with these guys, and we don't know what kind of conversations they have.
Right.
And I tend to get a little bothered when people assume they know these guys' personal relationship because of whatever they feel like they saw on a sideline or whatever they saw in a game or whatever it may be. And the reality is we're talking about grown men who have not only since becoming teammates have become married or soon to be married. Their families have grown. Their responsibilities have grown. Their accolades have grown. One can argue their egos have grown.
Absolutely.
And no one is above it. Not
You
even
could've-
Jalen Hurts.
You
As
could have
stoic-
stopped that marriage.
Yeah.
Like, do y'all just not understand what it's like when you single hanging with your boys, and then what happens when you get married? You just ain't going to hang with your boys, because if that's what you want to do, you ain't gonna be married.
And you're
Make
just
a
not,
choice.
and you're just not the same man. And I don't
Exactly.
mean that negatively. It's just things
You grow.
change. And Jalen Hurts, as much as we love him, as stoic as he is, as responsible as he is to us on the outside looking in, he's not above smelling himself. He's not above that. Some people hide it well.
Yep.
Right? Some people just know how to be presidential. But y'all, even Barack Obama had an ego. Let's not even act funny around here. To play in this league, to be at this level, to be a franchise quarterback, to be a wide receiver 1 and RB1 in this league, you gotta have some level of arrogance and ego about you.
You gotta know you good. You
gotta know you good. You gotta know you that dude, and you gotta believe that your word is law. Now, to be a great team, you have to show flexibility and be able to know when you are wrong, to be able to know when you are right, and not be egotistical about being right. Be humble about being right, and also be humble about being wrong. So, again, I know this conversation is starting to tread into a philosophical one, and some people may not like that, and that's okay. But the reality is, football is an emotional sport. It's a gladiator sport. A lot is given, a lot is required. And I try my hardest not to assume anything about these brothers' relationships. It's a ton of speculation out here. A ton.
Way too much. Way
Shout
too
out
much.
to my man, humble servant here. So much speculation. And the reality is, no one really knows.
Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows.
No one knows.
And
And
let's be real, we wouldn't be having this conversation if a couple more passes would have been completed. We wouldn't be having a conversation.
Exactly. We wouldn't be having none of this conversation. And Jalen Hurts had one of his best passing games, and it was what it was. You win some, you lose some. It's not easy to go undefeated. Sometimes you lose to an inferior team on your way to the promised land. We go back to that 2024 season. Eagles lost to the Falcons, who ended up being awful. Eagles lost to the Commanders.
That's right. That was the Saquon dropped the pass at the end of the game.
Right. And then
that gave us the win.
And then even beyond that, he slid before the first down.
Yep.
When he could have got it, but he thought he was doing the right thing. So much goes into it, right? You lost to the Commanders, who ended up making it at the NFC Championship. You lost to the Buccaneers, right? Who made the playoffs. 2 of your losses from last season came against playoff teams. 1 of your losses came against an inferior team. So far, the Eagles lost to 1 playoff team.
Right.
It happens. It happens. Now, like we said earlier, the road is what people like to talk about the most, the journey. How did they lose? You didn't just lose a competitive game, you gave the game away. And you should be looking funny in the light for doing so. But again, it happens to the best of them. How do you respond? How do you respond? And they have a chance to respond this Thursday against the New York Giants. And I think they will.
I will say this. If we get handled by the Giants, if Jalen Hurts gets beat by a rookie, then color me officially worried. But that's a big if. I need to have confidence that my quarterback is going to do what he needs to do to get the dubs, to throw the ball, to run the ball. Everything we're supposed to do against the Giants, we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we mess around and lose to the damn Giants. Color me officially worried.
Because I saw that Giants-Saints game, and that offense is defunct. They are that offense turned the ball over in crucial moments. That offense, don't get me wrong.
Your boy gonna get. I'll be surprised if Dayball keeps the job at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I've seen some things from Dart that I like personally.
He's got potential.
I think Dart is an exciting player. He's a guy right now that they're trying not to give him too many pass attempts. They're trying to, play balanced, and I respect that. You know what I mean? You don't want to put
they plan him like a rookie.
Yeah, and also he's shown that he's not afraid to tick off if things break down. and he has some legs on him. So it is going to be interesting to see what the gap discipline looks like in that game. Yep. Because I think the Eagles showed some good gap discipline for the most part these past 2 weeks against quarterbacks who can take off. And Bo Nix had one crucial run where he made a couple guys miss in that game. But I think overall the Eagles had good gap discipline against him. And I think the same thing goes for Baker Mayfield. Both of those players only had one run each of those games that kind of really caught the Eagles, and it's going to happen, right? As long as you don't make it a habit. Like, for example, we saw Trevor Lawrence and Patrick Mahomes doing whatever they wanted once they scrambled in that game last night.
Exactly.
And that's what you don't want to happen. Sometimes they're going to get one on you. It happens. But you don't want that to be
what the defense gives you. Take what they give you, but there should be a good mix of it. You got to trust that your offense preparation is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem that I see is the optics are ours isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I see people in the chat, everybody's saying the same thing, and it's the same thing they say on the radio all day is like, we got to do the routes. We got to have better routes. Why does everybody run deep routes? Everybody don't always run deep routes.
Mm-hmm.
But I will concede to the fact that there is some things that we need to do in the middle of the field that we just plain and simply are not doing. Because the middle of the field, the short to middle is, we don't spend enough time there.
And I think every time they have taken a chance there, they've been successful.
But they just don't
do it enough.
They run through the zone, they run through the middle zone, but they catch the ball over on the other side. Usually it's with Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert has been the one going through the middle most of the time.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert is on pace for his best season from a touchdown perspective.
Yep. And then you had one with Jihaad Dotson caught a deep one, but he came from the outside and just angled in. So it all depends on how the game is flowing and what play is called.
Mm-hmm.
But we have opportunities there in the middle, just like every place else. That's just a low percentage play that we call.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Kevin Patullo will hear the noise and adjust accordingly if it's open. Because it all comes down to, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Because I heard the rhetoric today is like, they must have rabbit ears in the locker room. Y'all been hearing what the social media been saying. So
what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that? I've seen a lot of people, to your point, I've seen a lot of people say that this coordinator has no backbone. You let 1 week of AJ Brown playing force you out of character. And although I get what they're trying to say, part of me says, well, let's not pretend Saquon's been running well.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like it's like I understand where they're getting at, and sure, maybe they are right. Let's just say maybe they are right. Maybe AJ Brown's complaints, maybe Devontae Smith's complaints, kind of did rattle Kevin Patullo's cage a bit, and maybe he did go a little bit heavy-handed with the pass. They still were up 14 points in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And on top of that, your offensive line and running back have not been able to execute the run well the first 4 games. Now, granted, did they appear to have success in that Broncos game, but they got away from it? Entirely possible. We discussed that. We thought they could have leaned on that more, especially when you're up 2 points. Up 2 possessions. They didn't lean on it enough. But let's not forget, with the way they were doing it, they were up 14 points in the fourth quarter. So, and they also missed on a lot.
Yep.
A lot of gimmies. So, 1 play there, 2 plays there, changed the entire nature of the conversations we're having. If they win that game, if Hurts connects with AJ on that ball, I bet you the conversation stopped about whatever AJ.
Totally different conversation
if they connect there.
And that's why I don't know if you caught any of my stream the other night after the game. I had this one guy come on. He's an Eagles fan, but he was dead set on blaming it was all Patullo's fault. And I was like, dude, I agree with you, but Patullo ain't why we lost that game. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
But he kept. I ended up having to kick him off the thing because he wouldn't let up on it. It was like, dude, I agree with what you're saying. We didn't have a good call, but that game was not Patullo's fault. Patullo didn't drop them passes. Patullo didn't quit on his route. Patullo didn't jump off sides.
Patullo didn't step out of bounds when he
Correct.
caught the ball, Jihaad Dotson. And again, sometimes it just happens that way. I'm not saying Jihaad Dotson
Sometimes it does happen,
I'm not
but
saying he meant to do it, but he ran out of real estate and forgot where
ran
he
out of
was.
real estate. And guess what? We don't practice that. We don't practice running out of bounds. We don't practice jumping off sides. We don't practice dropping balls.
Mm-hmm.
We don't practice missing the blitz pickup. We don't practice that.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to hold the players accountable for their execution.
Yeah, Bergang said it also. Patullo didn't have an illegal formation. Like
Right.
And sometimes we got to ask ourselves too, if those plays go differently, do we have a different opinion on Patullo? And if the answer is yes, that means that, your problem isn't with Patullo then. Your problem is with execution. Because I think that was the real problem in that game, and in the game on Sunday, execution. Now, is that me trying to absolve Kevin Patullo of the malpractice he's done up to this point? No. Because if someone says Kevin Patullo is a problem, I would say I agree. And then I would say also, but some people don't want to say also. They want to stop there. And I think that isn't.
Patullo wasn't a problem when we threw that pass to Saquon. Patullo wasn't a problem.
What do you say, real quick? I'm glad you said that. What do you say to the notion Saquon said that him and Hurts drew that up, and
him and Hurts what?
Saquon indicated that Hurts drew that up, and they had all they had to do was execute. Which implies that Kevin Patullo
happens more than people realize. That's exactly what I'm talking about. When Jalen Hurts walks to the line of scrimmage, watch what happens next game. Everybody in the chat, make sure you chart this the next game. Chart how many times Jalen Hurts goes up to the line of scrimmage. He'll look at the defense, and then he'll snap the ball. As opposed to walking up to the line, looking at the defense, and calling the audible at the line of scrimmage.
Right, making some gestures.
He sees something. He sees something. That's how you win the chess match. We won that play because, like I've said many times before, the running backs are special because linebackers usually cover running backs. And that's a mismatch
all day
that favors the offense. That's exactly what happened. We got Saquon hooked up on a linebacker, and what does he do? You run an out to a wheel. You get him going flat. When you turn that corner, linebackers can run, but they cannot cover. They don't know how to open their hips like a DB would. And one step in the wrong direction in real time at game speed is 3 yards worth of space. And you saw that because as soon as he looked up, Saquon had about a 5-yard lead.
Sure did. He outran the linebacker and the safety.
Exactly.
And, it's interesting. Jalen was able to connect on a deep ball with Saquon, was able to connect with a deep ball with Smitty. Couldn't connect with AJ, though.
Couldn't connect with AJ.
And
if AJ doesn't quit on that ball, but I understand the logic of why he was slow up.
Because he got rerouted twice.
He got rerouted twice. And also think about this, because this is the one thing they say about what do they say about the quarterback? Oh, you got to get your internal clock going. You can't stay in the pocket that long. You're too long. You just take off and run. You talking about when AJ finally got open, that had to be 5+ seconds. That was on the plus side of 5 seconds. That's a lifetime in the pocket. And when you see how Jalen hitched, and I think he was about to go somewhere else, and then he caught.
And he saw him. Like, I'm taking that. Yeah,
but it was too late. Or just put a little bit more air under the ball. Now I know I don't want to say anybody could do it, but that's an opportunity that I thought he should have threw the ball a little bit more to the inside. Let him come and get it inside. But at the end of the day, he just put too much on it, didn't get enough air under it, and didn't let AJ run into it. Now, could AJ have gotten it if he hadn't have slowed up?
Maybe.
Possibly.
It's possible. But also, to your point about putting more air on it, Jalen tends to put more air on his deep balls than that. Yeah. That was one of those deep balls where he it looked like he was eager. That was when I say eager, I mean, like you said, it just looked like he put a little too much mustard on it. Yeah, exactly. I wish he would have thrown I wish he would have thrown a dart rather than the arc ball. Because if he would have thrown a dart to AJ's inside,
There was nobody there.
He's walking in the end zone, yeah.
If he'd have took him over to the hash, he'd have walked in the end zone. But it didn't happen. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. And we missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
We missed that opportunity. Same thing with now I think the thing with Dallas Goedert was more on Dallas Goedert. But
you talking about the final his final pass attempt?
Well, no, Dallas Goedert had to play just like AJ's.
Oh, okay.
Where he gave up on the route because he didn't think the ball was coming. You know what? Next time y'all in practice, I don't care if the ball is coming or not. You run the damn route.
Mm-hmm.
We paying you a lot of money. Run it out.
I'm glad you said that because I also think that goes into the whole idea of having these predetermined locations where the ball is going to go. If every receiver should be running the route as if the ball is coming to them. And
Right.
and because of this offense and the way it's designed, sometimes I think when they know where the ball is going, they're not running the route with full commitment because they think
Correct.
the ball. And I think that in and of itself needs to change. I don't think that's the AJ Brown thing.
In my opinion,
I think that's a team thing.
That is on Nick Sirianni.
Correct.
That is a practice problem.
That is a coaching problem. Absolutely.
Because when you run that, I am positive they ran that play in practice, and one of two things happened. Either AJ got the ball or he didn't get the ball in practice, which is why he gave up on the route. Because after 5 seconds and you get moved off your spot twice, why would you expect the ball to come? I'm expecting Jalen to be done taking off. That's too much time in my head. There's no way he's still holding on to the ball. But so now we're gonna look at it next time. That's a lesson learned. You run it through. If we got to get somebody, if we got to get Mechie in there for a play to let you take a sip of Gatorade and get yourself together to get you, so be it. Happens all the time. But I'd rather have that you wear yourself out going full speed. We had a better chance to get the ball and we had a better chance to score.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree with you 100%. So yeah, the Eagles have Giants this week, and I think the beauty of having the Giants on Thursday, especially coming off this loss, you got to flush it quick, and it forces a quick turnaround. Now, one may say, I don't know. I think they need more time to get their issues, get their bearings after a loss like that. I say because of a loss like that, having a game this Thursday allows you to turn the page rather quickly. What's your thoughts on that idea that because they played this Thursday, it allows them to turn the page quickly? Do you believe in that, or do you feel differently?
I do believe in that because that's 3 days earlier. That 3 less days you have to sit on that loss. So
and 3 less days, people get to talk about it as well.
Correct, and it'll test the mettle of a team because now you're going up to New York. It's always a good game, and we're hurt.
And that field is already has some casualties this year.
You know it. But we injured. The biggest thing is our offensive line is not playing up to snuff. So until we start winning at the line of scrimmage, our offense is going to struggle. Because if we're not winning at the line of scrimmage, that's why Saquon's not running the ball well. So we'll see what they're going to do because let's pump the brakes a little bit and take an honest look at what we saw in the game. The run game looked like it was about to pop off, and we just abandoned it. So now what happens if we stick to it? And of course, Saquon and the Giants. We got to feed him the ball, man. He got to get 15 carries. He has to.
I agree with you.
So
I agree with you.
This is really going to test our mettle, and this is really going to tell us what type of team we have. Because if we can, after that loss, if we can come back on a short week, go in the Meadowlands, get that win, and get 8 days off, that'll let you know, like, okay, they went over some speed bumps, but we still the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, and on top of that, with a team like the Giants who have a talented pass rush, who have a talented defensive line with Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, I don't want to give them 35, 40 opportunities to rush my quarterback. I
Right.
think this is a game, like you said. If there's any game you want Saquon to get his, let him get his against his former team against the Giants.
And guess what? He ain't gonna come out early this game. He
Exactly.
got
And
200 something yards.
because here's the thing. The Giants defense, for as talented as that pass rush is, they are one of the worst teams when it comes to stopping the run this year. They are allowing teams to rush for an average of 5.3 yards per carry. That's 29th in the league.
Yeah,
On
but
top
that's
of
what
that-
scares me. That's what scares me. Because what you're saying is too damn obvious.
Mm.
And it's too obvious and it's too easy. And this will be another game where we only give them the ball 7-8 times. And it's like,
And here's why I push back against that.
we can't fall into that trap.
But here's why I feel the opposite of how you feel. Because last week or the previous game against the Broncos, he only had 6 carries or 3 carries, whatever it was. So I think this is going to be a concerted effort to make sure he gets the ball this week in the running game because of that alone. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
So you couple that with the fact they can't stop the run. I think that may lend to. I think that may
Patullo,
put the flame out on your fears a little bit.
You're probably right, but at this point, the way we're playing, I will believe it when I see it.
Fair enough, and I think that's fair.
Like, Patullo, prove me wrong. 16 carries, and how about if we pitch him outside 5 of those times? 5 of those times. They was killing us with it. That's what kills me, man. When I see another team doing it, and I'm like, it's not like it's a hidden play. That's football 101. That's smash mouth football. We pitching it outside, bring your DBs up, and let's see if they want to make a business decision.
I feel you on that.
You saw that big in the game last night. You see that what's his name? The DB, the strong safety for the Jags came up and popped Pacheco.
Yeah.
Are they gonna pay for it? So I just hope. I think you're right. I think they're gonna overcompensate and go back to giving them 15, 20 carries a game. But again, we have potential. And last game showed us that, we were moving the ball in the air and they kind of stuck with it. And we got behind the sticks. So we had to on 2nd and 13 and,
to
all
your
those
point,
situations.
I liked, for those who want to criticize Patullo, I will say this though. I like the fact that he gave his quarterback and receivers a chance on 3rd and longs.
Yeah.
And they paid off with a deep shot to Smitty.
That was 4th and 4. That was the illegal man downfield.
No, prior to that, there was like a 3rd and long, and they took a shot with Smitty and he caught it. A deep ball
on the right side.
Yes.
So
again, you're too talented not to take chances like that. Because if you run the ball, we know what the outcome is likely going to be. So you might as well pass it and see what happens.
Yeah, I agree.
Might as well pass it.
But even with that, we got the one thing that I do agree with the chat and with the overall criticism of Patullo is it seems like the optics are we do not have success against zone.
Yes, that's obvious.
And all that is we have to have a better route tree to exploit the holes in the zones.
Because you got receivers that know how to find the soft spots and sit in it.
Correct.
It's not like you don't have talented guys. You just need to give them answers to the test.
Correct.
Give them answers.
We gotta be better at that.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, before we transition to kind of recapping our picks from the previous week. Just to give people a quick rundown of Tuesday's injury report. Grant Calcaterra was listed as DNP with the oblique, and Landon Dickerson was listed as a DNP with the ankle. My prediction is neither of those players play.
I agree.
And I think that would be the smart move. And honestly, because they're playing on Thursday, it's funny. I think if they played Sunday, they would have forced Dickerson out there, or Dickerson would have forced himself out there. But because they're playing Thursday, I think this is going to force them to give him some extended rest, which is rightly deserved. Saquon was a DNP yesterday, but today he was limited with the knee. Jihaad Campbell limited with a bicep, and Byron Young limited with a tricep. I think those guys are going to be ready. And Nakobe Dean has been a full participant coming off of IR. We're going to see Nakobe Dean make his debut this Thursday. That's my prediction. And
I'm worried about the tight end more than anything else.
Grant Calcaterra.
Yep. He can't block. Him or Granson?
Well, you know who can? Cameron Latu.
Latu.
And I think
Are they going to put him in the offense though? That's the question.
That is a good question. Then
we want Patullo to draw up some plays from Cameron Latu. That's what we want to see because he's a better blocker. He's a better pass protector, all of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's the next man up, why do we got to invent stuff to get him involved? He should be involved.
Right.
He should be involved. So I hope that doesn't bite us, but I'm going to be watching that because you got Thibodeau, you got the Rook.
Mm-hmm.
They got some players over there on the edge.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You are right.
So we can't have the same performance like we had last week. It ain't gonna work. We're gonna get Jalen's head blowed off.
Yeah. And again, we saw Kevin Patullo. And again, this is another thing, right? I know I keep dwelling on this, but we're dwelling on this Eagles situation because I definitely want to get to our previous picks. But we have seen him provide answers to the blitz to some teams that really blitz Jalen Hurts heavy. We have seen some answers being installed, right? And we've seen Jalen executing pretty well. So that's why I don't think all is lost because we've seen these.
Yeah, not hardly.
We've seen these quarters or these stretches or these halves where there are answers and they are answering the call. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I'm not willing to say all is lost. That's why as passionate and as emotional as I can be, I'm choosing not to be that. I'm making a conscious choice to let this thing play itself out because I know the NFL season is long. It's a grueling process. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Who's saying?
And that's what I'm choosing. That's what
I'm choosing. Is that a definite, Alex? Calcaterra is out?
Well, he said probably. You know, I think he's basically saying what we're saying. You know, like he didn't practice. Typically, let's put it this way, right? If it's Sunday and a Friday report comes out and the guy didn't practice, we know he's not playing.
Right.
So we're 2 days out from Thursday. Today's Tuesday. If he didn't practice today, they're going to be traveling tomorrow. Well, actually,
no, they won't travel tomorrow.
No, they'll travel the day of because it's a night game.
Right up the road.
It's right up the road. Yeah, sorry. So they'll be traveling. They'll be traveling on game day. But he didn't practice. I don't think he plays. If I'm making an educated guess, or educated assumption, however you want to put it. Nonetheless, though, you guys have been fantastic. Continue to smash that like button. Continue to make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure your notification bell is hit whenever Marcus and I go live, be it from Pro Fan Talk or Chalk It Up Sports. Make sure you guys are made fully aware of that. You guys have options here. The Bald Eagles podcast is live on Pro Fan Talk. Make sure you guys are subscribed there and hitting the like button and make sure your notification bell is hit. And we're also live on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Once again, you guys have truly been fantastic. And I think we've had a great conversation thus far about this Eagles team. I think we had an adult conversation when it comes to the Eagles team. Again, it's very easy to be emotional about all of this. Very easy. And I understand it, right? So make sure you guys continue to stay locked in. We appreciate the love and the support. And by the way, you guys, just give you guys a quick reminder. Coach Markus Thomas is not just covering the NFL and not just covering your Philadelphia Eagles. He also has an affinity for basketball. He also has an affinity for the WNBA and, just women's sport and just women's sports in general. And as he should, because women's sports is truly, truly grown to a level where it deserves its respect. And that's not to say it didn't deserve its respect prior, but, the culture is shifting and women's sports are demanding more of your attention because of everything that's going on, especially in the WNBA. So make sure you guys lock in to my good brother, Markus Thomas, on not just Pro Fan Talk, but also lock in on Pro Fan Hoops.
Pro Fan Hoops, we moving. I'm moving all of my basketball content from Pro Fan Talk to Pro Fan Hoops. So that will be, the move is happening. I will give an official announcement, but the move is already happening. You know what I mean? So, you packing up all them little boxes, getting them all together. You got the trophies and all the stuff that's been in the bottom of the closet. I'm getting all of that stuff out and putting all of the basketball content on the new channel and getting ready for the NCAA season, the women's season, because we got a lot of stuff going on. We got Malaysia for Wiley at LSU now. She left South Carolina. You got
which is, in my opinion, I don't care what nobody say, that's a shot across the bow. That's like their bitter rival.
Absolutely.
That's a shot across the bow right there.
Then you got Sarah Strong at UConn. That should have been the most valuable player in the tournament last year. Not AZ Fudd. Sarah Strong was doing that as a true freshman. She was balling, so they coming back. You got Silas Swords at Michigan. You got Hannah Hidalgo, South Jersey girl at Notre Dame. Then you got to go down to Olivia Miles at TCU. She left Notre Dame, so you got some beef there. So it's a lot of stuff going on. Keomi Miller, that was wrecking everybody with the moves at Rutgers. Then they got rid of her. They said she was a ball hog, so she going to Penn State. So you got to watch Penn State now. So it's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm moving the content, and we are getting ready for the NCAA season because you already know it's going to be a WNBA lockout. So get your last fix on the WNBA for a while because that new CBA deal is going to be interesting. So we'll see what's going to happen. But for right now, we good to go. The birds are still in it. We still got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
So they better handle business in New York.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm gonna say. Absolutely.
And again, you guys, this isn't a talent problem we're talking about here, which is a blessing.
No.
That's the blessing. We're not talking about talent. We're talking about fine-tuning some things.
Yeah.
There's some teams where they can't build rosters. That's step number one. Build the roster.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Create the arsenal. There's some teams that's going into sword fights with knives and toothpicks. You feel what I'm saying? So the Eagles situation, although it's daunting and emotionally draining as a fan, and especially coming off the season we had, let's not pretend last season didn't have its fair share of emotions tied to it as well.
Absolutely, man. Let's not forget. We was complaining about Kellen Moore early in the year too.
Those last two games spoiled us a bit. You dominated the Commanders. You dominated the Chiefs. It gave us I don't want to say a false sense because I think that was true to who the Eagles were at that time. But when you dominate those two teams when you dominate those two teams on those stages, the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, you can't help but to feel like, you're going into the next season just ready to blow the league up in dynasty. And we got to remember the Eagles had to take their lumps to get to that point.
Absolutely.
Because once the playoffs start, once you get in, and also remind you, they did that as a wild card team.
Yeah.
They didn't have a bye week. They didn't have the best record in the conference. I think they had the second best record, but they were the number 2 seed. And they had to win 4 straight games to hold up that Lombardi.
You're right.
And 2 of those games, well, arguably 2, but 1 really made you sweat.
Absolutely.
You beat the Packers by double digits. You beat the Commanders by double digits. You beat the Chiefs by double digits, right? The Rams gave us a little bit of a jump scare, a little bit. You know what I mean? That was a little bit of a horror movie.
And let's not forget,
but we survived. The black guy survived at the end.
Yep. Earlier in the year, everybody was like, "Did we make the right decision with Kellen Moore?"
Yes.
Everybody was like that.
They were talking about it even in the Panthers game.
Yep.
Like that conversation never ended. That conversation never truly ended.
How soon?
It's that Saquon was balling so well, and we didn't think about it because Saquon was just doing astronomical things. But we had that question all year long.
All year long. Was he the right move? So, couple people asking, am I going to stream the game on Thursday? Yes.
Yeah.
I will be doing a live stream.
And we will be doing a pregame, right, Marcus? Just to make sure we're on the same page with that.
Yes, we can do a pregame.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be as long, obviously, as our normal one. But
what time you want to do it? Like at 5?
What
time's the game start on Thursday?
Let me check here. The game starts on Thursday.
8:15.
The game starts 8:15
Eastern,
7:15 Central. So
6:30.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool
Okay,
with that. 6:30. We
do
go for
6:30.
a solid hour 15. And
We'll do 6:30, and then as soon as we get done with our live stream, I'll launch into the live watch of the game.
yeah, okay. Sounds good to
That'll
me.
work.
Sounds good to me. All right, let's transition to our picks from week 5. It was a rough week.
Oof.
It was a
Oof.
rough week for us, you guys. A lot of things happened that I didn't anticipate. Some things happened that I did, but overall, it was a very strange week for football in week 5. Let's get to it.
We got our heads kicked in, bro.
Did we ever? My worst record, bruh. Anyway, let's break this down. So week 5, 49ers at Rams. No, I'm sorry. No, yes. Week 5, 49ers at Rams. We talked about that already. Vikings at Browns. I had the Browns winning. The Browns had a chance to win this game. They ultimately blew it.
They blew it.
You had that game pegged, right?
Yep.
Raiders at Colts. We both had that game pretty much in lockstep. Colts just dominated them, and they're looking like a very good team. But the Jags are also on their tails as well. I can't wait for their matchups this season.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Giants at Saints. I had the Giants winning that game, and you had the Saints winning, ironically enough.
Saints, yes, I did.
But
Saints at home.
But I also didn't anticipate the Giants fumbling the ball on 2 crucial drives. I mean,
Right.
I didn't. I'm like, dog.
Scatterboo
and also a receiver fumble. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, dog, y'all. I personally felt like the Giants outplayed them. They just fumbled the ball.
Right.
They were moving the ball at will, and they just fumbled the ball in crucial moments of the game. They literally gave the game away. So, I got that one wrong. You got that one right. I thought the Jets would redeem themselves. The Jets are still the only team without a win this season, and I just feel like they're playing well below what their roster says. I think they're coached way better than what that record says. I don't know what's going on with the Jets. I think Aaron Glenn hasn't been coaching awfully. I don't, but the record is still the record, and he's going to have to wear that.
Yeah,
but they are still the Jets, so I think Aaron Glenn deserves some level of.
You got to get some grace for a little bit.
Yeah, because they are still who they are, and in that game you had the Cowboys winning. And I should have known better, especially with the way the Cowboys offense has been playing. But, sometimes you got to throw a knuckleball in there and see what happens. And obviously I got that one wrong. Broncos at Eagles, we all got that one wrong. Broncos came back in the fourth quarter, scored, what is that, 16 unanswered points or 15 unanswered points?
Too many.
Yeah. And let's see here. Dolphins at Panthers. You had the Dolphins winning that game. I said, I think the Panthers catch them. And what happened? The Panthers did what they did. I think the Panthers are starting to gain a little bit more confidence.
I agree.
And I think you're seeing Bryce Young settle down a bit. The one thing about Bryce Young's game that just stands out to me is that no matter how he slices, this is one thing that he's never going to be able to shake. He's just too small, man. Once you get your hands on him, he's going to go down. Yep. It's hard. You don't really see him really. Unless he's running, unless he's getting out of there untouched, you don't really see him make plays if you get a hand on him. And I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue in the long term. I think that puts a cap on his playmaking ability because of his size, but he's still been able to answer the call against teams that people had him losing against. So nonetheless, the Panthers were able to win that game. We'll see where they go from here. Texans got their first win of the season, the best they've looked all year long. Granted, they went up against the worst defense they faced all year long. So I don't know how much stock we want to put into that. But nonetheless, they were pretty dominant, and the Ravens just looked awful. Right now, the Ravens are what are they? 1-4, 2-2.
The Ravens are listless. They don't, and now that Lamar's out, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, there's a chance that now look, Lamar is obviously going to come back at some point. And maybe they go on a little run. Maybe they sneak in as a wild card team, but I don't think they do anything of significant value this year. That's just my humble opinion. Texans won that game. Titans at Cardinals. That shocked me.
Shocked everybody.
I thought the Cardinals, I don't want to say would handle, but I thought the Cardinals would win that game by at least a touchdown. And
I think Kyler Murray's on his way out.
I've been trying to tell people, bro, Kyler Murray is overrated, bro. I be trying to tell people like he just doesn't have it. Like he just looks like a toddler out there running. Like he looks like he's playing backyard football all the time.
Yeah, he can
And
throw the ball really well. He's super quick. But he just has he ever been to the playoffs?
yeah, and that's when he got smoked by the Rams.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Kyler Murray is everything. Jalen Hurts' accolades is everything they anticipated for Kyler Murray. They're both Oklahoma. Didn't Kyler Murray go to Oklahoma?
Yes, he did.
They're both Oklahoma quarterbacks, right? One was a first rounder, one was a second rounder. And everything Jalen Hurts has accomplished, people thought Kyler Murray would be that guy.
Yeah, man. He did too much time on Call of Duty, bro.
Too much time on Call of Duty. Oh, man. Buccaneers at Seahawks. I got that one wrong. I thought Seahawks would catch him. You got that one right, actually. That one came down to, once again, a final drive by the Bucs. And you got to give them credit for being able to.
Mayfield playing good, man.
He is. But, when people say he's playing well, part of me is like, okay, statistically, but at the same time, it's like, and I don't know how much blame you put on him in this regard, because they still put up over 30 points. But the Buccaneers haven't necessarily dominated a team quite yet, but that goes for the Eagles as well. So you got to give credit where credit is due. The Buccaneers are proving that they are a team that is capable of staying the course, even in the midst of a storm. That goes a long way with me. So you got to give the Buccaneers credit. I love the way Todd Bowles is coaching. I love that Todd Bowles is getting the respect he rightfully deserves as a head coach. He almost became an outcast after that Jet stint. And I just love seeing Todd Bowles succeed. I think Todd Bowles is one of the most well-respected guys in the league. I haven't respected his position about the Eagles quarterback sneak. He's just a very practical dude, and those guys in that building trust him. So, and I know a lot of people had concerns when he took over for Bruce Arians, but he's kept them very much in the hunt, very much relevant. And we'll see where they go from here. But Buccaneers were able to take care of the Seahawks. Sam Darnold threw a game-sealing interception that got tipped, and it was just an ugly situation overall. But look, man, things happen. Buccaneers won, Seahawks lost. I got that one wrong. Lions smoked the Bengals, as we all expected. No need to really dwell on that. Bengals did trade for.
Man, my hometown is
Joe Flacco.
40-year-old Joe Flacco. That's the best we could do.
Joe Flacco.
We couldn't get Big Red to come back. We couldn't get Andy Dalton to come back.
Let me ask you a question. Joe Flacco is one game short of playing for every team in the AFC North. Has there ever been a quarterback that's played for every team in his division? He's played for the Ravens.
The only person that I can think of that maybe remotely played for that many teams maybe was Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Has Ryan Fitzpatrick played for every team in the AFC East?
I doubt it, but that's the only person I can think of that
played for the Dolphins.
Bounced the Brown lot.
He played for the Bills, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't play for the Patriots. And I don't think he played for did he play for the Jets?
Yes.
Let me see here.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, he played for the Rams, Bengals, Bills, Titans, Texans, Jets, Buccaneers, Dolphins, and Washington.
So he's played for three. He's played for 3 out of the 4 teams in the AFC East. So, okay, we have seen this before. But I don't think we've ever seen a guy play for every single team in his division.
No, that might be a first.
And obviously
be 40 years old.
Right. And I don't think we're going to see that because Flacco, how old he is, and the Steelers aren't going to bring in Flacco. So I think the buck stops there. One of these days we may see it. We may. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? We said Lions beat the Bengals. The Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. Commanders beat the Chargers. I thought the Chargers would win that game.
I did too.
And nonetheless,
they got
in dominant fashion. And this is why I look at Justin Herbert funny in the light. People love crowning this brother early. They love it. But I be trying to tell people, just wait on it. Just wait on it. Justin Herbert will show you that with all that talent, he has no responsibility.
Blunt said Josh Johnson, and I think
Josh
that is the
Johnson.
correct
Oh,
answer.
okay.
Josh Johnson, Buccaneers, 49ers, the Browns, the Bengals, the Jets, the Colts, the Bills, the Ravens, the Giants, the Texans, the Raiders, the Redskins, Lions.
Oh no, he said retract that. He said retract that.
He's played for a lot of teams though,
but he hasn't played for all 4 teams in a single division.
Yeah.
But again, Justin Herbert, no scoring in quarters 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
No scoring. Yeah. No scoring. I understand they got injuries on the offensive line, but dog, you're Justin Herbert. You're the kid that they love. Come on, man.
I can't. I'm not gonna press that issue. Seeing as what our quarterback did a couple games ago in the second half, so I'm gonna allow that to walk.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna press it. You wanna know why? Because you wanna know why I'm gonna press it, Marcus? You ain't got to, but I press it for. I press the line for both of us.
Because we can't talk.
Listen,
we can't talk.
But listen, you wanna know why I'm gonna press the line for both of us? You wanna know why? Because although my quarterback has had his struggles so far this season, the team nonetheless is still 4-1.
He's still 4-1.
And I'm willing to argue that they've gone up against tougher competition over that stretch. And my quarterback is a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, an all-pro. Listen, hey man, my guy has a little equity in this.
I am not throwing helmets in glass stadiums, bro. Not doing that.
Well, guess what? I do it for us, brother. I'll put both our names on the bullet. Now, if they come knocking on your door, hey, your name's still on the bullet now.
Let me see my man get. I need some more consistency before I start bragging on him.
All right. Patriots beat the Bills. None of us saw that coming.
None
of us saw that coming. And was it an aberration? Was it a one-off?
Somebody out there in FanDuel world wants some money.
Was it a one-off? Who knows, right? But nonetheless, the Bills lost to their division rival, the Patriots. The Bills and the Eagles, the only 2 undefeated teams, took their first losses at the same time. And again, Week 5 had its fair share of shockers, right? Jaguars doing what they did to the Chiefs, Chargers losing to the Commanders the way they did. Eagles and Bills losing to teams that people thought were a bit inferior. So Week 5 was the week of upsets, if to say the least. All right, and then Chiefs and Jaguars, like we said, Chiefs. I had the Chiefs winning that game, and they lost. And the Jags have been playing well. I think this is the best start to the Jags season that we've seen in quite some time. And they actually looked the part, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
I think that's what's more so telling. That defense looks good. They're forcing turnovers.
Peterson never had them looking this good.
That's a fact. And although Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl winning coach under our regime, sometimes people, I don't want to say luck because things happen for a reason, but sometimes people are at the right place at the right time, and
right place, right people at the right time. Absolutely.
And they benefit from it. But let's not pretend the Jags have had the best leadership overall, but this is the first season with this new GM. This is the first season with this new head coach. And so far, they're in lockstep. We'll see how far they take it, though. And Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers had a bye week in Week 5, so we didn't see them. So overall on the week, Marcus, you went 6-8.
6-8, bro.
And I went 5-9. Once again, you beat me out by one game. This has been the narrative all season, by the way.
Close, almost.
This has been the narrative. All week you've been beating me out by one game, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
You're not supposed to.
And I don't like that little chuckle either.
If you're gonna be mad by yourself.
Shit, you know what? now you sound like my wife. Shit.
Oh my God.
Oh man. But so your overall record so far, I'm 41-37 as of Week 5. Your overall record is what?
I didn't even get a chance to add it up. I should be a couple ahead of you.
I've always been a game behind, right, or a couple games behind, right?
Yeah, so I should be like
so right 42, now you
42 or 43 wins.
Yeah, I think you're about a game or two ahead of me.
Let me see if I can because I had it last time, but I didn't write it. I didn't write it down I'm gonna have to write this stuff down in the folder that I keep all these notes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I'm literally just logging it every single time. But this week we got some games, y'all. Eagles at Giants, Broncos at Jets. I already have my predictions in, except for one game. There's one game I'm struggling with, and that's the 49ers at Buccaneers. That's a game I'm struggling with. That's the only game I'm struggling with this week as far as my prediction.
I go Buccaneers. 49ers got to travel coast to coast.
Oh yeah,
I'm giving it to the Bucs,
and not just coast to coast. They got to go to the boot.
What time's the game?
I think it's a 4:00 game.
Okay, so they're gonna be in the heat.
Let me double check real quick. Yep, it's a 4:25 game. Oh yeah, they're gonna be in the thick of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bucs will win that.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me a question that I wanted to address before we get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that? Was that Blunt? Mm-hmm. Somebody asked me about moving channels.
Oh yeah, I think that was Blunt. That was Blunt. The reason why I'm moving the channel is because I know I got over 8,000 here, but whenever, like, think about it like this: to get the momentum going on your channel with certain content, you got to get momentum. Yeah, and also you don't want to alienate your audience, and you can do that when you have too much going on the channel.
Flip-flopping content. So I got a lot of videos from WNBA stuff that take off, but I found that when those videos take off, all of my Eagles content kind of dips. So
because the algorithm is the algorithm is probably struggling, and again, like we're up and coming broadcasters, right? So it's not like we're people that already have a name and a following where people are just going to listen to you because you're you.
Right.
So it's important for us to really overserve our niche on a particular channel because that's how we build it. And then once we get to a point of no return where people are just rocking with us, now you can now you have that equity with them where they're going to listen to you regardless. So
and I just don't want to. I've had a couple of people that have got a hell of a lot more subscribers. Their base is solid.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are our base. So all we're trying to do is just make sure we super serve you guys. That's pretty much the goal.
Expand that base, and you don't want to confuse. I've had a couple people tell me you really don't want to confuse your audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing football, stick with football. If you're doing basketball, stick with basketball, or just create another channel. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm doing because I looked at it like this: I'm not doing anything different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm producing the same content, except when I upload the video, I'm just uploading it somewhere else. I can still post it on my Twitter. I can still do all the same stuff, but I haven't done any. I've barely done any work on this channel, and I'm up to like 300 and almost 340 subs, and I haven't really done anything. I haven't really promoted it, nothing like that. All I'm doing is taking the content, and right now I'm double dipping. So I'm still doing WNBA content on Pro Fan Talk, but I just saved 2 versions of it. One goes here, and the other one goes to Pro Fan Hoops.
Yeah, it's about time you completely cut the cord.
I'm officially when the WNBA finals are over. That's when when the finals are over and the NCAA women's college basketball starts. That's when I do it.
Okay.
So, and I've seen a couple channels like that because there's some specific things that I'm trying to do.
Right.
I want to do more film breakdowns with the football, and I want to be able to put graphics on it and draw route patterns and all of that kind of stuff. And I want to be able to do the same thing with the basketball. I got a whole 3D shot chart that I was doing at one point. But the bad thing about the content that we do is it is very, very difficult to create evergreen content when you do sports.
That part, that's such a good point because when,
like you said,
like the shelf life of what we do is so limited, so short that's why consistency in this space is paramount.
Yeah.
It's not like, like it's things lose its shine quickly in the sports game.
Exactly.
So
you're not going to come back 3 weeks from now and watch a podcast about the Rams game.
Exactly.
You're not going to do that.
Right. So it's not going to happen. But yeah, I agree with you doing, man. I love what you're doing. So make sure you guys subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Make sure you guys subscribe to Pro Fan Hoops. We're going to keep pushing that. And I just think what Marcus is doing is pretty remarkable. So make sure you guys lock in. I think he's one of the most underrated, one of the most underappreciated content creators out here.
Appreciate it.
And I even want to get away from just calling ourselves content creators, right? Because, they always say, I've always heard, dress for where you're going, not for where you are. So
absolutely.
We're broadcasters, right? We're not doing anything different than these guys on ESPN. Only difference is they got a big budget behind them and they're wearing suits.
Right.
So I consider us broadcasters in this space. And I consider us professionals in this space because of the equity we built up and how much attention to detail we have. So again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk. Markus Thomas does amazing work. Make sure you guys are also subscribed to myself as well at Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Any final words, Marcus, before we get out of here?
No, Eagles handle business. That's all you got to do. Handle business. You'll get the opportunities to throw the ball, run the ball like you know how to run the ball. And let's get a solid win. Let's get a dominant win over the Giants.
I agree. And I think the fan base deserves that. Yeah. I think the fan base deserves that. You get a dominant win over this team. That Broncos game just looks like another blip on the map.
Yep.
All right. So smash that like button. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports. He's Markus Thomas. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. This has been the Bald Eagles Podcast. And we're out of here, y'all. And it's Fly Eagles Fly.
Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by.